Welcome back, and thanks for tuning into this little video series I'm calling Answers with Andrew. This is a series for families and small business owners where I'm just trying to quickly, in 3 to 5 minutes, tackle topics that relate to areas of law that I practice in that will help them plan for the future, hopefully with more success. The areas of law that I practice in are estate planning, estate and trust administration, real estate, both residential and commercial, and corporate or business law, as well as asset protection planning. So I'm coming to you today from my office here in downtown Akron. Give you a little quick view of Rubber City. It's a beautiful day here. We're heading towards spring. And today's topic is probate versus non-probate assets. So what is a probate asset versus a non-probate asset? Now, I've drawn this picture. This is a picture that I found to be most successful with clients when I'm trying to explain the difference between non-probate and probate transfers. Down at the bottom, we have a married couple, right? So we have spouses. They may have things set up. I have the arrows going back and forth to go to each other first, either because they own things jointly or because they have each other named as beneficiaries on assets like 401ks, for example, or life insurance. But as spouses die, all of their assets have to travel down this road, and the road splits to the right and to the left. If things go to the right, they are going through probate, right? So probate is a court process to change ownership of an asset from one party to another. And something's going to go through probate if one of these spouses who is the survivor dies with it in only their name. So if the surviving spouse dies with an asset in only their name, be it a checking account, a car title, an investment, a piece of real estate, brokerage account, Roth IRA, you name it, then the probate court's going to ask two questions, right? One, does the surviving spouse have a will? If so, what does it say? If they do not, we're going to look at the statute of descent and distribution, which tells us based off of a family tree who is likely to inherit next. And then we're going to go and see if those people are alive. Now, there are times when clients will come to me and say, how can I avoid the process of probate? And why would someone want to avoid probate? Well, probate can be, I think probate gets a bad reputation, sometimes wrongfully so, but probate can be time consuming. Probate can be costly. Probate is public record. People can have access to what you owned and the values of it. It's easier for creditors to submit a claim against your estate. If you have assets going through a probate estate, it's easier for creditors to say, hey, your beneficiaries up there don't get that. I actually get that because you owe me money. And so there can be reasons why we want to avoid probate altogether. And so we look at, okay, how can we drive our assets up the road to the left and directly to our beneficiaries? Now up top, I have drawn 3 what might be children. I've also drawn a picture of a church. I've put inside the church box 501c3, which is just to say that a beneficiary can also be charitable, right? We may have what my former mentor, John Rasnick, often referred to as charitable children, right? So do you have any churches or ministries or organizations that have been good to you during your lifetime that you don't necessarily want to disinherit at your death? So all of these things, people or organizations, can count for beneficiaries. And then we look at our 2 options on the left-hand side, right? If we want to avoid probate, our first is beneficiaries. I call it bennies. Right? So if we set up someone as a beneficiary of a checking account or a life insurance policy, I can do transfer on death designation affidavits, which is a probate or which is a deed transfer technique for real property, right? So I can set houses up, joint and survivor between spouses, or I can set them up TODDA, transfer on death designation affidavit, to get the house outside of probate down to who or up to who we want it to. Our other option is trusts. I'm going to do another video on trusts and what trusts are, but just, quickly, a trust is basically a holding entity where we are going to place people in charge. Those people are going to be called trustees. We're going to have beneficiaries named in the trust, and assets are going to be held there. So I found this picture to be helpful when people are trying to understand in their mind, what's the difference between a probate transfer or a non-probate transfer, and how do I do one or the other? Thanks so much for tuning in.